Thank you for auditing the always positive new music review show hosted by a French professor who's afraid that this video won't get a lot of clicks. Whenever I compare two artists, I usually get half the viewership. And I don't ever ask you to share or to like or subscribe. Okay, I ask you sometimes, but I don't really emphasize it too much. But I think this is going to be a good video, so stick around. I am going to be comparing and putting into competition two artists who basically have nothing to do with each other, NLE Choppa and Black Thought. And I think I'm going to come to some interesting conclusions, and I think it'll be interesting for you if you are a fan of one or both or neither. If you just want to hear however the hell I'm trying to do this. And the sort of general framing device I want to hit on is what I call the Martian. Okay, let's pretend that a Martian arrives to America and doesn't want to meet our leader, that doesn't matter, wants to understand our culture. And if you're trying to explain human culture to a Martian, well, you'd have to say, well, the most powerful force in human culture right now is hip-hop. Okay, what is hip-hop? So, first you kind of go through the different definitions. I love Bakari Kitwana's definition, which I discovered last week. A subculture of Black American youth culture. That's a good way to put it. Describe the history going back to the Bronx and technology and beats and racial divisions and African American communities and marginalization, all that stuff. But when I'm going through all of that, at a certain point, I'm going to have to really emphasize what really differentiates hip-hop from other forms of art, even other forms of black art, other forms of marginalized art, is that it's a competitive art. That is what makes hip-hop so interesting. That's part of the reason why I think it will go on forever, because that competition can keep going. It doesn't, other arts have this sort of lofty sense that that's not what they're about. Okay, the Beatles competed with the Rolling Stones, fine, but that wasn't actually part of the art. Success and being the best is actually a part of the art. And that's why I'm comparing n.l.e. Choppa and Black Thought. That's why I don't even know who's going to win this battle. I have my Sharpie here. I'm going to give points to each of them whenever I feel like it. And one of them is going to win. And I'm not certain it's Black Thought, even though you'll see it's actually the background is actually a Black Thought album that I bought. Thank you, Patreons. Because the question of best is complicated. What makes something the best? If you are purely holding it to some sort of aesthetic high bar, you are missing the point. That's not actually the history of hip-hop or the history of rap. Yes, talent is a valid measure, my dear Martian, but so are sales. Longevity is a valid measurement, but so is being hot in the moment. Vitality. Being hot is just as important as being good. Lyricism is important, but having lyricism that's repeated and loved by the people is also valid. Respect in the streets, respect in the studios, being played on Hot 97 in New York and being played on NPR, all these things matter. It's not a simple question of good and bad. And I think actually, just in case you're wondering where I come up with a lot of this way of thinking about it, one of the better scholars on hip-hop is a former rap artist, Joe Budden, who I'm not a big fan of his sort of move towards the manosphere. I don't like everything he says, but the way that he phrases and the way that he frames the competitiveness of rap music, I think is the perfect way to do it. And if I'm trying to do some sort of pale, excuse the pun, pale imitation of that, where he's always emphasizing the importance of being good and the importance of being hot. So these Martians are here, and they want to be taken to the culture. Now, I could go and find the best-selling rap album of last year and then compare it with the Grammy-winning, Mr. Morale versus Certified Lover Boy. Sure, but why not go right now? Why not take a window into this exact moment? Let's talk about two albums that were released in 2023 on April the 14th, okay? Last Friday, 6 days ago. So, starting with NLE Choppa, he's from Memphis. That's interesting. Choppa, I believe, refers to a gun, like a machine gun. It's also the Serbo-Croatian word for hunter, which is funny. So, NLE Choppa is from Memphis and is 20 years old. Black Thought, in the other corner, is from Philadelphia, and he is 2.5 times older. Okay, he's 51. So 2 and 1 year, okay? So 20 years times 2 is 40, plus another 10 is 50, plus 1 is 51. If we were to have the same age difference going in the other direction, n.l.e. Choppa would have to be 128 years old. That's the difference in life experience. It's not just a question of 31 years, it's a question of life experience. So I do think that is going to play a lot into this. The difference in the way these albums are produced and made. I mean, Black Thought's album is music played mostly by real musicians. This great soul group that makes this just this beautiful sounding, smoky sounding, deep R&B throwback soul. The Al Michaels Affair. Expertly crafted while he raps about life and social issues and racism and strife in his community. And then in the other corner we have n.l.e. Choppa, who's rapping in the trap style and the drill style, which are the most popular styles of the moment, and talking about cars and money and sex and sex and sex and cars and money and drugs, a little bit of guilt, a little bit of trauma, a little bit more interesting stuff there, and crime. So it's easy. Here's the narrative: n.l.e. Flash versus Black Thought Substance, n.l.e. Hot versus Black Thought Deep, n.l.e. Sex versus Black Thought Love, n.l.e. Gangster Rap versus Black Thought Consciousness. And the knee-jerk reaction, especially by academics like myself, and probably statistically you, if you're watching this video, you're grinding your teeth because you don't even like the idea of comparing these two, is that just makes n.l.e. bad and Black Thought good. My larger argument that I'm making to you, the Martian, is that the fact that these artists are so different is the strength of hip-hop culture. Okay? I'm going to give them 1 point each to start off for that fact. Okay? The strength of rap music is, I'm not talking culturally, I'm talking like just in terms of its cultural power, comes from the strength of its mainstream and the strengths of its alternative streams. They are unbelievably strong, unbelievably varied, and the fact that we have these two artists releasing theoretically in the same genre, theoretically they are making the same kind of music, and realistically they come from very similar material and social conditions, but age and time and perspective and education and life experience all vary so differently. But fundamentally, that's why rap music is so damn strong. That's why hip-hop culture is so damn strong. So, we'll see. I'm going to declare a winner, but it's the opposite of Alien vs. Predator. Alien vs. Predator, Freddy vs. Jason, whoever wins, we lose. n.l.e. Choppa versus Black Thought, whoever loses, we win, because it's the strength of this music. Now, to make it even more sort of highfalutin, there's a quote in a song by Black Thought, the song I'm Still Somehow, where he says, "They say black joy is rebellion." Now, the concept of black joy is very important. If you don't know the work of Trisha Rose, she's probably the greatest hip-hop scholar, period. Just probably the greatest there's ever been. I would be showing you the book Black Noise, which is the book I suggest, but that's in my office, so I'm recording this at home. She writes a lot about black joy, the concept of African Americans being able to live and exist and not be in a state of suffering or a state of strife or a state of marginalization. Just the act of being alive and being happy is in and of itself a form of joy. I would argue both of these albums, being cultural products, being pieces of art designed for the entertainment of people, express that kind of joy. And we can appreciate them and compare them, but fundamentally they both are filling that same role. Now maybe Black Thought is filling that role primarily for people closer to his age with more of his life experience, and perhaps n.l.e. Choppa is performing that more for people closer to his age, more of his life experience, but they are both expressions of black joy. Now, listen, I understand this is a comically pale guy sitting in his red-lined suburban living room, okay, describing black joy and putting two rappers not even in the same lane into competition, okay? I'm not trying to white-splain hip-hop. I'm trying to appreciate the culture in the same way that Martian does, right? I am not of the culture, and I don't pretend to be of the culture. I'm an academic. My field of study is 17th century French literature. And that's the way that I am trying to approach this music. Now, of course, it's made by real human beings who are alive right now. If I tried real hard, I could probably meet both of these guys, you know. But still, to treat culture seriously, you have to take it seriously and allow yourself to have a certain amount of remove. So please understand, I don't pretend to be an expert on Black joy, the Black experience, the hip-hop experience, the social material conditions that led to its creation. I'm just a guy in his living room who's trying to share his love of hip-hop and trying to share his analytical ability with you. I'm trying to give you some thoughts, okay? So let's get into the competition, shall we? Ding, ding, ding. The beats. Black Thought, this L. Michaels album, it is just, what perfection. I mean, my God, the way this album is produced. It's totally unified. I looked up L. Michaels. They have an entire album that's just all Isaac Hayes samples. Recently, I've gotten 2 messages from people saying that they started listening to Hot Buttered Soul because of my recommendation, and that makes me happier than anything in the whole world. If I could get anybody to listen to anything in the entire world, I would get the entire world to listen to Hot Buttered Soul by Isaac Hayes. If I had to have a Voyager disc, okay, and send it off so that other planets could discover human existence, it would have Hot Buttered Soul and the Hamster Dance. Those would be the only things that I would send off into space, right? But anyways, so it's great. Absolutely amazing. Unlike anything, you know, they actually record music and then sample their own music, which is quite a fascinating idea. I mean, it's sort of similar to what Derringer does with the Griselda folks, of sort of making things that sound like samples but aren't. And then on the other hand, you have Choppa. Choppa, who's doing 20 plus producers. I don't know how many. There's a lot of producers. It has kind of a factory assembly. It goes basically between, you know, drill and trap. So you know, we're gonna give the production point. We're gonna give the production point to Black Thought. Although there is a kind of bravery in NLE Choppa's. And when you listen to it, he's actually really trying to do drill. He's trying to do it in a British way, and he's sort of trying to take on these different styles. And then on top of that, he actually does some bounce tracks. Like he has this track with Lil Wayne where it samples Back That Ass Up, but if you're really listening, you know that he's actually sampling what they sampled. He's actually sampling the Trigger Man beat, you know, like the actual basis of bounce. Secretly, NLE Choppa, the neck tattoo and all, has a certain amount of understanding of hip-hop history, and that does come through in his music. So I'm gonna give Choppa a point 2. Seriously. Now when it comes to the album Cohesion, okay, here this is gonna be clear, you know. One of them is 12 songs, 31 minutes long. The other is 22. 22 songs. Dude, I can't, if I were to stay in the gym long enough to listen to your entire album, NLE Choppa, I'd waste away to nothing. An hour and 10 minutes, okay? This is based on what I recently discovered, thanks to Joe Coscarelli's research, thanks to the Migos Culture 2. They figured out the more songs, the more money. The longer the album, the more money. That's what I used to call Drake bloat, what I used to call Migos bloat. I'm just calling it stream bloating, right? So, all right, fine. You're definitely getting a point. I'm not going to give a matching point to NLE Choppa on that one, because it's just too long, and it makes it a slog. But then again, it is sort of trying to go for something different, you know? It's trying to go for something different, where it's like, when you listen to sort of modern rap albums, the indistinguishable nature of some of the songs goes into the fact of the way it's often listened to as sort of like a long, uninterrupted vibe. It is allowing itself sometimes to be in the background. So you know what? You're getting a point 2, Choppa. I'm sorry, my in-laws had a dog named Choppa. It was a hunting dog that was abandoned on the side of the road in Serbia and just died like last month. So every time I say Choppa, I get a little bit sad. It was this beautiful dog would just run around. It was a complete lunatic. You know, I'm going to show you a picture of Choppa at the end of this video. Don't forget Skye. And you may notice that they're tied. I don't know if they're going to stay tied the whole way through. My mom would always have every game end in a tie. made me super angry. But we'll see. When I talk to style is a part of rap music. And Black Thought's got that big beard, that serious look, the serious sunglasses, very distinguished. NLE Choppa's got the gold teeth. He's got the neck tattoo that's in, it's negative. It's a negative neck tattoo. So the non-tattooed part spells out NLE. And I'm going to give it to him. You know why? That's the first modern rapper tattoo that I saw where I went, that's actually kind of cool. It's not like only the strong survive or some kind of weird gang thing. I don't know. I think it actually looks cool. So, okay. Now we're going to get more serious. I'm only going to compare 3 songs from each album. Okay? The opening song, the song about love or sex, and then the song about criminality. Okay, so let's start off with the opening tracks, Grateful. Grateful by Black Thought and the L. Michaels Affair. What I call a shut-up drum line. Just the drums are so good. A Kanye-style reggae sample. I think it's Shabba Ranks I read somewhere. The way that Kanye is able to sample reggae and it just sounds like it was always meant to fit into hip-hop. It feels like that. These cool flutes in the back. It's hard not to feel like this is kind of made for a future Tiny Desk concert. That's what you call throwing shade. But it's really good. It's really, really good. It seems to be that it's largely against the American dream, or about how he's not fighting for the American dream, about the emptiness of the American dream, about the emptiness of money. 3 for the money, 2 for the hustle, 1 for the nighttime spread over the city like a comforter, prime time for the predators who come out to hunt for the chumps, carrying the high notes like a trumpeter. They shoot as straight as arrows and run through the shadows, and sons of a gun and dirty young caballeros with marks on the collars where they hung from the gallows. It's interesting sort of parallel between criminality and lynching and the criminal justice system, and great rich rhymes here like trumpeter and chumps, trumpeter chumps. Trumpeter chumps. I don't care. I don't care how you're listening to this. I don't care if you have headphones on. I don't care if you're sneaking around and no one's supposed to listen to you. I don't care if you're in your kitchen. I don't care if you're mowing your lawn. I don't care what you're doing. I command you to say the word trumpeter chumps on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1. Trumpeter chumps. It's good wordplay. Very, very, very strong work. It's so nice having those words together. And that's Black Thought's flow. I discussed in my Cheat Codes review how I've been sort of selling him short. I've been sleeping on him for a very long time for very dumb reasons. And you can watch that video if you want to. But really here, just sons of a gun and chumps and trumpeter and hunt and comforter. I mean, comforter and trumpeter too. He's really doing a lot of very rich rhymes. So for complexity of rhymes, that's going to go to Black Thought, and there's no way that's going to go. NLE's not going to get a point for the complexity of his rhymes. Also, just ridiculously deep references here. The whole house is fucked like JoJo dancers. JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling is a semi-autobiographical movie about Richard Pryor, which I went to go see when I was 8 years old, because I liked Richard Pryor from the, looking back at it, highly problematic entire film oeuvre, but especially the movie The Toy with Jackie Gleason. I loved Richard Pryor. I thought he was the funniest guy. So I went to go see this comedy, JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. My Nana Kay took me. It must have been somewhere in New Hampshire, somewhere near New London, New Hampshire, somewhere near there. I don't even know. And I went, and it's this movie, and he's in, his mom is a prostitute, and he's smoking crack and catching on fire. I mean, not for smoking crack, freebasing cocaine, not quite the same thing. Just the most depressing movie I've ever seen. I didn't laugh once. I didn't understand what was going on at all. I had no social context. I didn't even know what a prostitute was. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was going to see The Toy, and instead, I saw JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. So, anyway, the whole house is fucked like JoJo Dancers. That's a great callback to what is actually thinking about a very important movie that showed a very important story about a very important black artist whose reputation has has been going up. But really, Richard Pryor should be talked about all the time as one of the great not only heroes of comedy, but sort of great American hero of sort of the 70s and the transition from the era of civil rights into the hip-hop era. I mean, he's such an important transitional figure, while at the same time being arguably the best stand-up comedian there's ever been. You know, and his depiction of his own life in JoJo Dancer is great. So Black Thought's doing all that for us. Thank you. I'm going to rewatch JoJo Dancer now that I think about it. Then we get to n.l.e. Choppa's opening track. Talk Different. Ominous sounds on the piano, drill sounds, start and stop drums, drill drums, riding around the city with a badass bitch, always locked in. I got cash to get. I can show you how to rags to rich. N-word, yeah. I ain't never leave, but I'm back again. Real crash test dummies going on here. It takes him forever to start rapping. It takes him forever. He starts off with this little half verse. I do like how he says rags to rich. It takes him forever to start rapping. But the thing is, he has hooks. He has multiple hooks. He has stars, and then he also has this whole N-words talk different when the money comes, and N-words walk different when the money comes. It's lame. It's bad rhyming, but it's catchy. It's very catchy. It's very immediate. It grabs onto you. It's the kind of thing you want to listen to. Right now, if you asked me to sing the Black Thought song, I'd have to think about it. But you want me to start singing n.l.e. Choppa? Bars, stars, I could do it. And his flow is nowhere near Black Thought's, but it's also kind of interesting. You know, like, he has all the ad-libs, the very modern ad-libs, kind of annoying, but interesting. But he does this whole thing where he does this, like totally staccato bit with just, like, 2 syllables, like, go in, get him, see him, kill him, get everybody, with him, 100, in him, make him, feel him, can't spare, notin', nana, peel him, deal with him, Nina, scratched, no, cereal, send your best hit to kill him, F a chest, hit his head. I can't even do it. I can't. What are you doing watching me trying to rhyme? Okay? Don't watch me try to rhyme. But the point is, he goes so staccato and so messed up with this rhythm that the people who are producing it for him, Jay London and Skills, what's his name? Skibbs. I don't even know the names. Oh, twins. That they let the beat fall down behind him. Like the beat behind him just gets all weird and nutty. Like it falls apart. Like he's going so far out there. You're thinking this is just a standard song, but it gets kind of avant-garde. Another point for NLE. Oh, I didn't give you a point for JoJo Dancer. You get a point for JoJo Dancer. And then we get to the difference in references, okay? Remember, hip-hop is a competitive art. So it's great that you can make a reference to JoJo Dancer. My students have probably never heard of Richard Pryor, okay? Probably none of my students have ever heard of Richard Pryor, okay? I'll do a survey tomorrow. I'll ask. Probably 1 or 2 of them have heard, okay? And none of them have heard of JoJo Dancers. But they have heard of this. Take a real close look at my wristwatch. Diamonds hit like Will Smith did Chris Rock. Okay? Very pointed, specific references. Everywhere I go, I gotta keep a G-lock, make him dance like Coil on TikTok. Hey, how many people over 20 know who Coil is? Not me. I had to look up Coil Carly. I thought he said Carly Rae, like Carly Rae Jepsen. I'm like, does Carly Rae Jepsen do dancing on the TikTok? I didn't know. What do I know? I don't know about Coil or TikTok, So we have this great generational thing of mutually incomprehensible references. I'm not going to give you a point for that, though. But then there's a cool thing at the end where Twins and London J have this pitched up soul sample in the back, which is like oddly a lot like Black Thought. Like there's a lot more similarity in the production than you would think because you just hear it and you go, oh, that's that. But it's not, actually. It's a little bit more complicated. You don't get a point for that either, though. He's got to keep that point for that just crazy reggae beat. Crazy. Told you it was going to be a good video. I invented a new word. Crazy. You think it's crazy, but no, it's crazy. So I've been fighting with Bo. He's my dog over there. He's sleeping, and he's been snoring, and I can't stop him from snoring. So if you hear that, I apologize. Feel free to drop me an AVAA. Always. Awesome video, as always. That's like the easy comment. You ever want to leave a comment, just give me a general thumbs up. AVAA. That's awesome. Now let's talk about sex and love, huh? Let's talk about sex and love. Let's talk about love. That Girl. That Girl by Black Thought and the L. Michaels Affair. Oh, this soul intro is so gorgeous. And then there's like a beat switch into the super crushed up, compressed beat. This deep, deep love. This deep love. With this sample that I thought was from The Impressions. I thought it was from Curtis Mayfield because it's such a beautiful falsetto. But no, L. Michaels Affair made the song and then sampled it. Ooh, awesome. I can't give you another point for that, but I would. I'm going to give you a point for that, for the fact that the chorus is just straight up soul, and then the verse is this really cool like rap beat. Like it's able to just go between them. And it's all about the joy of long-term monogamous love. About drinking kombucha, celery juice. This wonderful interplay. A queen nightingale and her wings whisper the sky a tale. The sun and moon are her biggest fans. They send her mail. Skin caramel, magnetism, none could parallel. I'll eat a bitch's ass if she's got red hair. I'm sorry, I mixed them up. I don't know how I did that. I apologize. I jumped ahead on. I'm sorry. Skin caramel, magnetism, none could parallel. From Venus to Venezuela, they call her Miss Michelle. Her beauty, truly a treasure. Her laughter was a song. No way I could ever be right if loving her was wrong. What beauty, what gorgeousness. You're going to get a point for a song about monogamy and long-term love. There's not enough of those in all of music. This has nothing to do with rap or black artists or American artists. All of music, very little of it, celebrates long-term monogamous love and its difficulties and its highs and lows. I almost want to give you a second point for that. I'm not going to. I'm going to be stingy with this. I'm an easy grader, but I'm stingy with the Sharpie. And then we get Automo Booty. NLE Choppa's Automo Booty. I don't care where you are. You're going to say Automo Booty. 3, 2, 1. Automo Booty. Bounce music. A real bounce feeling. Even with a chorus that's sort of half spoken, half rapped with a certain lightness to it, it feels like bounce music. Like ass shaking bounce music. It's super duper duper pornographic. But the question is it misogynist? We are a sex-positive channel. I run a sex-positive channel. Okay, I do not believe that pornographic and misogynist are synonymous. This album is interesting because he's a very horny 20-year-old. I mean, most 20-year-old men are very horny, but he is very horny, and he's very open about it. He has a song called Slut Me Out, which is like in and of itself makes me want to just go on some kind of feminist rant about the idea of a 20-year-old rap artist from Memphis calling himself a slut. The amount of like transgressive inversion of gendered terminology on display here makes me want... Well, I can't even say what I want to do because this may be a channel where I talk about pornography, but I'm not going to be gross, but it makes me very excited as an academic to hear a 20-year-old rapper from Memphis saying slut me out. I want to have a conference about that idea, okay? It's fascinating. And this song, it starts off. A queen nightingale and her wings. Oh no, I'm sorry, that's Black Thought again. I eat a bitch ass if she got red hair. Or it might be real hair, I can't tell. If she clean in between, I don't care. Ah! Why? Okay. It's one thing to talk about eating people's butts. It's a new thing. Wasn't in society. It's in society now. Good. More, better. More sexual freedom everywhere. That's what we need. Sexual freedom, sex talked about in an open way between consenting adults, needs to be everywhere all the time. Okay? This is good. It is good that we now talk about analingus in public discourse. It's good. Got to thank Tom Brady. Tom Brady did a little bit. Got to give him a little bit of credit. The rest of the credit goes to rap music and stand-up comedians, right? But if she clean in between, I don't care. Like, he's taking it to the next level. I mean, this is Francois Rabelais stuff. This is real deep. Like, not even caring if it is a clean butt. I like a hood bitch, long fingernails, nappy hair, yeah. Later he says, she's dickmatized. You get a point for dickmatized. He gets a point for coming up with the word dickmatized. That's funny. That's funny and free. You know? That point also includes for the whole analingus talk, too. She said, come in me, and I did it with my dumb ass. I need a plan B. I mean, he's talking about sex in this way that feels real and doesn't feel dehumanizing. He rhymes the word hard with soft, which is just impressive. You know, part of what makes rap so interesting is you can use your accent to rhyme anything with anything. And he rhymes the word hard with soft, words that are literal opposites and do not rhyme at all. Roses are red. Roses are hard, tulips are soft. Like, that doesn't rhyme. What the hell am I talking about? But then, later, like, he does that thing that rap artists do of sort of personifying or sort of objectifying, like turning into an object, female genitalia, but he does it in an empowering way. That pussy got a motor. That pussy need a chauffeur. Want to hang it up like a poster. That pussy strong like a shoulder. You know? Like, I'm going to be teaching the song WAP tomorrow, actually, in my class. I'm very excited about it. And obviously the argument is that, it's no more pornographic than a lot of male rap songs, and this is one of those pornographic male rap songs. But I do think that it's not regressive. I don't think this is a misogynist song. I won't tell. I'll keep it on the hush. I'm in the mood for some lunch. My tongue went smooth in the butt. Going on and on with this. And this is very much in conversation with the song Slut Me Out as well. What he's describing is a teenager's understanding of sex. Somebody who just like went on some kind of porn website and just looked up the categories and was just like, just checked every box. I want every box. I want to get every single possible pornographic idea into this album that I can. But there's an important element here that's going to give NLE Choppa one more point. There's 2 female rappers on this song. 2. I'm almost going to give him 2 points. Modesty comes on here and does that bouncy chorus. Wrist spinning like an automobooty. Can you do it? Can you do it on the dick, though? Like, she's talking in this chorus and she has this laid back, easy, rambling, fun way. This is that joy. This is the joy of sex. And this isn't just black joy, it's human joy. The reason that I love culture, period, I don't care if it's hip-hop or Renaissance artwork, whatever, is its ability to convey the human experience. And that's why it's a humanity. And these songs taken together, like the most freaky deek song you could possibly have, and the most dedicated I've been in a long-term relationship. Like, that's the reality of existence, is all those things all together. This is humanity. This is human beings expressing some of their most primal needs for love and sex in some of the most primal and gorgeous and interesting ways. Another female rapper, Lola Brooke, comes on here, very talented, has a cool flow change. And it's one thing to say how much you love a woman, but NLE Choppa got the point because he's actually giving them a voice. They have a voice. They get to speak. They're not just objects. They're subjects in the song as well. Finally, we're going to touch on the topic of crime, because a lot of the Black Thought album seems to be about the struggles that he has with crime in the black community and in hip-hop. This song, okay, sorry, you get another, I know, I've already given him a point for the beats on this album, but this beat, this crazy, like, scratchy sample or something they made, and then this, like, totally underwater, buzzy soup sample, and then later a full beat change. He's almost getting 2 points for this beat. It seems as though it's, like, partly about being afflicted by the police and having a sense of powerlessness in society, and then partly about a sort of larger conception of the role that that powerlessness plays into criminality amongst the poor, right? I think that's what it's about. To play the couch with Pop Pop is the smart route because it's not for hopscotch when that chalk out. Interesting idea, probably the thing I like the least about the Black Thought album is there's too many, or a couple songs that are very sort of reminiscing. I don't like it when old people reminisce because it's like sometimes I agree with it, but it's like, come on. Anyways, so this is like that kind of like sour reminiscing. He talks about trauma. A significant amount of trauma will change you. Keep getting in and out of drama will drain you. You know, that's part of the whole idea. Part of what makes rap music and gangster rap music so interesting is as a way of expressing the trauma of growing up in late stage capitalism at the bottom of the pyramid, right? When you angry, no management to speak to. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. I think this is a great idea that Black Thought has, where he's sort of using the Karen stereotype, the misogynist stereotype of the white woman with an asymmetrical haircut who's saying, may I please speak to your manager? He's taking that and then putting that sense of powerlessness, which is what motivates the Karen, that feeling of feeling invisible and like you have to exert your power on somebody. So you take it out on the manager, you take it out on the person who's working at the Best Buy and doesn't have the proper adapter for the phone that you just bought. Right? That feeling of powerlessness in your life that those Karens are trying to express. Maybe we should make fun of them less and focus more on the way that patriarchy hurts women as opposed to villainizing some women who act bad. Obviously, the racist Karens is a different thing. That's a different problem. But point is, what happens when you feel powerless? That's what the second verse is about. And when it's brick out, you know to slow down your big mouth because N-words be in the cut with guns big enough to huff and puff and blow down the brick house. The set'll make you submit and cash your chips out. Extendo so long it sticks out. Talking about this monster within. Great job describing the problem with this great beat change. And then it ends with, we've got to stop, which appears to me, the way I read it, my dear Martian, is that this sort of expression of rage that gets expressed within the black community, the rage that they feel for being marginalized and hurt by the larger community, that this needs to stop. Then we're going to get to Dope by NLE Choppa, featuring 5-Yo Foreign and 4-Yo Foreign. Prof joke. So, super drill, bass sounds, cool rhythm. It's produced by someone like Madika or something like that. I don't even know. I forget. I thought I wrote down all the names of all the producers. But the producers on the NLE Choppa, they're all well produced, but they're all kind of forgettable. And this is a song about doing crime. And this is where I would like to bring back one of my favorite quotes that I make my students study all the time. Critical aesthetic representations of a social problem must be understood as constituting powerful social and political acts. That is Angela Davis who said that, not me. That is the great Angela Davis. Critical aesthetical representations of a social problem. Let's simplify that for our case. Rap songs about crack must be understood as constituting powerful social and political acts. Rap songs about crack are powerful political acts because they are describing a systematic problem. Every song about the drug trade and about evading the police and about killing black on black crime is a symbol of the way in which American society has failed its people. Okay? That's what crack rap is about. Now, I gave Black Thought a point for describing the problem so well, but NLE Choppa is the problem, or he is rapping for the problem. But they both represent different ways of approaching the same problem. If you are an American, you should have a deep uncomfortableness with the way that our culture and our society has failed by imposing the war on drugs and hurting the most vulnerable people in our country. That's what we've done. And that's what this music reminds us. 5-Yo starts off and the drill sounds, shooters is dying to see them, N-words can't find them, we hide and we seek, and he in the city, he dying this weekend, I take a Percocet to keep me calm. He's talking about the trauma that was described by Black Thought. And then this chorus, dope, money, greed, nah, 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 super relaxed, super catchy. NLE, you're going to get a point. You're going to get a point. Because this is a ridiculously catchy song, and it takes everything that you are both saying, Choppa and Black Thought, and simplifying it to dope, money, greed. Nah, nah, nah. Then we get to NLE's verse, all across the world serving different citizens. I'm going to make this shit stretch till the end. Hit my knees every night, I'm a sin again. He has this sort of religious feeling that he's doing something wrong. Hop out, let me see them feet work, ain't finished, shoot out no window. He's talking about stretching out cocaine. He's talking about selling cocaine, about selling crack, about crack dealing, this super chorus. This is what needs to stop. He's describing what needs to stop, and then we have this weird auto-tune song with just a ridiculously epic choir. So before I announce the winner, these are my Patreons. They give me money to buy music. Actually, you know what? The album back there, they didn't help me buy it. That was a gift to my son from my ex-wife. So credit where credit's due. Weird detail. But what are you going to do? That's why you stay around till the end. So let's see who wins. Tie? A tie game? No way. No. I am going to declare a winner right now. All right. I gave out the last point. Until next time, there's the camera.